Jace Denman for Flag Family Media. I'm here with MSUM Dragon men's basketball head coach Jason Kemp. Coach, an eventful week to say the least. You guys were gone for a few nights, spending time away from the Moorhead in the metro area.
Yeah.
Obviously, got a nice win on the road against Minot. Came up short against University of Mary, which obviously provided to be a tough environment, a tough matchup. What can you take away from those two games?
Well, I think the recipe to a championship in any league is to win your home games and split on the road.
Mm-hmm.
And so, obviously, not winning at Mary, that was disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was more disappointing in the way that we played. I thought our effort wasn't great.
Mm-hmm.
Something we're looking at correcting this week. But to be able to get a split on the road in this league is always a blessing. And so we're fortunate to be able to get one of two.
When you look at the league as a whole, I know that the Dragons lost at Mary. We saw Duluth lose at Jamestown. Jamestown's gotten a couple wins early on in this season. Overall, it really looks like we kind of don't know anything about this league until we actually tip off games, because it seems as though there is some parity within the league. And we saw Southwest Minnesota State start off slowly in non-conference. They're getting things going in conference. So when you see kind of the overall landscape of the conference and anybody beating anybody on any given night, how does that change maybe your mentality when it comes to preparing the team week in and week out?
Well, what people don't realize is Coach Herbst at Minot, he had about a month less time to put together his team than the rest of the new coaches in the league.
Yeah.
So that was my comment to him after the game. Was like, I don't know how you put this group together with the time you had.
Yeah.
And so I think maybe there are some, the general public underestimated a little bit what some of these programs that are transitioning to a new regime were able to accomplish, I think, including us. But it's made the league more competitive. There's new energy in a lot of programs, and I think it's been fun to see.
Well, when you talk about that, Minot's got a new coach, Mary's got a new coach, we have a new coach, obviously, in you. Have you talked, outside of after the games, have you talked with these coaches and kind of maybe, not necessarily picked their brains, but kind of compared notes on what you guys have went through, putting together staffs, putting together roster? Because there was a lot of turnover, especially when we look at those three teams.
Yeah, I didn't realize individually how challenging it would be, but we were able to fortunately bring in a good group here. I think the same thing with Coach Herbst and Coach Ty. They had their challenges, but we're able to figure it out and put together a good group. So seeing those guys on the road when we all had 5 or 6 guys in our program was tough.
Yep.
But we were all able to figure it out a little bit. So it's exciting for the league.
Going back to last week, a couple games, like I said, a real good win in Minot. To me, this seemed like the first time when playing against Mary. Mary's always, at least in my mind, been known for a team that's got a lot of athletes. And obviously they came out and they shot pretty well in that first half. But the defensive intensity, the full court press, it feels like, in my opinion, over the last couple of years, we haven't really seen a ton of that. So is that something that, maybe that's just the coaching staff that you guys saw in film with Coach Ty, or is that something that maybe not necessarily you break out to kind of catch somebody off guard, but it seemed as though that's, if they're doing the full court press correctly, that is tough to deal with.
I'd like to say that their scheme was what we had a hard time adjusting to, but I can't. I mean, we scored 90 points, so but I was more concerned with our lack of intensity on the defensive end. And, we watched the game. We broke it down. We looked at it for what it was. And our guys, they were impacted by that. And, seeing themselves on film, not playing at a level that really exemplifies who we want to be every day. And so I think that's what they're looking at correcting with these next 2 games.
Well, and I do think that going into the second half, I think some of that, a majority of that was corrected because there was more intensity. I know that we go back to the game against Duluth, the rebounding. I mean, you guys really got after the boards in that second half, and it felt like some adjustments were made at the half, and sometimes you need that little bit longer break to really get into that. But it seemed like you guys responded well at the half of the Mary game that we were at.
And yes, this is coach speak.
Yes.
Because loss is never a good thing.
Yes.
However, when you look back to even South Dakota Mines and Minot and Duluth, there were some bad first halves that we played.
Yeah.
And when you dance on the line of defeat long enough, eventually it's going to catch up with you. So that's the lesson we're trying to learn going forward, and hopefully we can understand that for these next few games here.
Well, losses become lessons, right?
Yeah.
That's a little coach speak I picked up here and there, right?
Absolutely.
When you look forward to this week, obviously, middle of the week or ish or so, you got a game. You're hosting Northern State. I believe they've got a new staff coming in as well, and a fourth team with new staff, new players, etc. Then you finish it off before the Christmas break, hosting Jamestown. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about both those matchups and what you're looking forward to in those two matchups.
More of the same.
Mm-hmm.
More of the same. The intensity level in any NSIC game is very high. I think Northern State, their style is problematic for any team that is not willing to dig in and lock in and play defense. Mm-hmm. They set a ton of screens. They shoot a ton of threes. And so if there's any separation, and they get open looks, they're going to knock them down. And so we've got to be on high alert on the defensive end, and our communication has to be really, really good. And then obviously Jamestown, just another one of the long list of guys that is new to the league that just I think is a phenomenal coach in Casey Brueggemann. Mm-hmm. And I think he has arguably one of the best players that nobody's talking about in Anthony Walters. I don't know why people aren't watching this.
He was lighting it up last week, wasn't he?
He's very good.
Yeah.
Every time I watch their games, he is just impactful in so many ways. And so his strength, physicality, and his shot making are second to none in this league. He's one of the best players in the league, in my opinion.
What will it take to get wins outside of making sure your team is locked in defensively and also has that intensity ratcheted up a notch?
I think we've done a good job of executing on the offensive end. I think it's all about defense for us.
Yeah.
There is nothing else to really add to that.
The one word for this weekend's games: defense. You heard it here from the coach. Yep. All right, well, Coach, best of luck this week. Obviously, we'll be looking forward to you guys taking the home court here at Nemzik both Thursday and Saturday. And, of course, James and I will be there for all the action on Saturday.
Thank you.
All right, this is Jace Denman alongside head coach Jason Kemp of your MSUM men's Dragon basketball team.